Imagine living in a state of constant alertness, where everyday situations can trigger a flood of stress hormones. What could cause such a radical change? What if we told you that trauma can fundamentally alter how our brains function? We're about to embark on a fascinating exploration of the brain, unveiling how trauma can shape our thoughts, emotions, and even our physical health in unexpected ways. So stay tuned as we delve into the profound effects of trauma on our brain. Firstly, we explore hypervigilance, a state of heightened alertness. When trauma strikes, it can alter the brain's alarm system, pushing it into overdrive. It's like your brain is on a constant lookout, scanning the environment for potential threats. Now imagine living with this heightened state of alertness day in, day out. It's not just mentally draining, it's physically exhausting too. Your brain is perpetually on standby mode, ready to respond to danger at a moment's notice. This constant readiness can take a toll on your everyday life, creating difficulties in performing routine tasks, and even affecting your sleep patterns. It's like living with an overzealous security guard who's always on high alert, often sounding false alarms. So, hypervigilance is not just about being overly cautious, it's about living in a state of continual anticipation of danger. So, hypervigilance is just the tip of the iceberg. Let's dive deeper. Next, we unravel the mystery of hyperarousal. Picture this, a car alarm that goes off at the slightest touch. Annoying, isn't it? Now imagine your brain doing the same. That's hyperarousal for you. Trauma can set off the brain's alarm system, triggering the fight or flight response. This is your body's way of protecting you, preparing you to either confront danger or run away from it. But when this response is triggered too often, it can lead to an increase in stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. This heightened state of alert can manifest as an increased heart rate, sweating, and difficulty concentrating. It's like your brain is stuck on overdrive, constantly scanning for danger. Over time, this can be exhausting and interfere with daily life. Just like that, trauma can keep your brain on a roller coaster ride, but there's more. Now, let's explore the phenomenon known as amygdala hijack. Picture this. The amygdala, a tiny almond-shaped structure deep within the brain, is like a vigilant sentinel, always on guard, ready to protect us from danger. It's responsible for processing our emotions and, most importantly, for triggering the fear response. When trauma comes into play, this little sentinel can become overactive, like a car alarm set off by a passing breeze. The fear response it triggers can be exaggerated, causing us to react as if even minor stresses were life-threatening. This can lead to difficulties in regulating emotions, making us feel as if we're on an emotional roller coaster, with highs too high and lows too low. In essence, trauma can hijack our amygdala, turning our emotional responses into a runaway train. It seems trauma can hijack our emotions, but how does it affect our memory? Let's shift our focus to the hippocampus. The hippocampus, a crucial component of our brain, is a workhorse when it comes to forming memories and regulating our emotions. But what happens when it's under the relentless assault of chronic stress and trauma? Imagine an overworked librarian, struggling to keep up with an onslaught of books. That's the hippocampus dealing with trauma. The constant stress can impair its ability to organize and store our memories, making it difficult to recall the details of traumatic events or even form new memories. It's not just about forgetting where you left your keys. This damage can manifest as fragmented memories of traumatic events, gaps in our personal history, or a fuzzy recollection of recent happenings. It's like trying to read a book with missing pages, and the plot thickens as the hippocampus also plays a role in emotional regulation. So the effects ripple out, influencing how we react to and process our feelings. So our memories aren't safe from trauma either. But what about our mood? Now we venture into the realm of neurotransmitters. These are the chemical messengers of our brain, crucial for transmitting signals within and between neurons. Two neurotransmitters you might already know are serotonin, often called the feel-good neurotransmitter, and dopamine, associated with pleasure and reward. Trauma can disrupt the delicate balance of these neurotransmitters, creating an imbalance that can have profound effects on our mood and overall well-being. For instance, a decrease in serotonin can lead to feelings of sadness and depression, while a lack of dopamine can result in anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure. Moreover, trauma can also impact other neurotransmitters like norepinephrine and glutamate, which are involved in our stress response and cognitive functions. When these are out of sync, symptoms of anxiety, restlessness, and difficulty concentrating may surface. So it's clear that trauma can indeed play havoc with our moods. But how does it affect our decision-making? Let's now understand the role of the prefrontal cortex. This region of the brain is like the control center for decision-making, impulse control, and social behavior. When functioning normally, it's like a well-oiled machine, keeping our actions, reactions, and interactions in check. But what happens when trauma throws a wrench in the works? Well, imagine trying to solve a complex puzzle while in a state of constant distraction. That's what it's like for the prefrontal cortex impaired by trauma. Executive functioning, which involves problem-solving, planning, and regulating emotions, can become a Herculean task. The result? You might make impulsive decisions, struggle with planning, or have difficulty keeping your emotions in check. But it's more than just a personal struggle. Since the prefrontal cortex also plays a role in social behavior, trauma can ripple out, affecting how we interact with the world around us. So, trauma impacts our decision-making too, but what about our perception of reality? Next, we delve into the concept of dissociation. In the face of overwhelming trauma, the brain may resort to a unique coping mechanism, dissociation. This is the brain's way of disconnecting from the present moment or from one's sense of self. It's as if the brain flips a switch, allowing a person to momentarily step outside of themselves, providing a brief respite from the intensity of the traumatic experience. This can result in feelings of detachment, as though you're an observer of your own life rather than an active participant. In more extreme cases, it can lead to depersonalization or derealization, where the world around you seems unreal, as if you're living in a dream. This isn't a sign of weakness, but rather a testament to the brain's remarkable capacity to protect us from psychological harm. Indeed, trauma can distort our perception of reality. But how does it affect our senses? Now, let's explore the world of sensory processing. When trauma comes knocking on the door, it doesn't just leave a mark on your emotional state, it also alters the way your brain processes sensory information. Imagine your senses, those faithful friends that help you navigate the world, becoming hypersensitive. Trauma can sensitize your brain's sensory pathways, leading to a heightened sensitivity to stimuli such as sound, touch, or visual cues. Picture a world where the rustling of leaves becomes a roar, a gentle touch feels like a burn, or a bright day is blinding. This is not just about being more aware of your surroundings, it's about sensory overload and increased reactivity to triggers associated with the traumatic event. The world becomes a cascade of heightened sensations, each one potentially setting off a chain reaction of stress and anxiety. So, trauma can overload our senses too. But how does it impact our social relationships? Let's now discuss social functioning. When trauma strikes, it doesn't just leave scars on our minds, but also hampers our ability to connect with others. Our brain, a social organ by nature, can become impaired, making it challenging to form and maintain healthy relationships. Trust, once broken, becomes a steep hill to climb, making individuals wary of their surroundings and the people in them. Boundaries, an essential aspect of any social interaction, might become blurred or overly rigid, making interactions difficult. Furthermore, the feeling of being a part of a community, a sense of belonging, can become elusive. The world might seem like a jigsaw puzzle with one piece forever missing. This impaired social functioning can fuel feelings of isolation and loneliness, creating a vicious cycle that further entrenches the effects of the trauma. Indeed, trauma can isolate us. But how does it affect our physical health? Finally, we look at the impact of trauma on physical health. Trauma, whether emotional or physical, can leave a lasting imprint on our bodies. It can contribute to the development of chronic pain conditions, a silent struggle that millions around the world grapple with daily. This happens because trauma can trigger our brain's stress response systems, putting our bodies in a constant state of heightened alert and tension. This in turn can lead to muscle stiffness, headaches, or even more severe conditions like fibromyalgia. Moreover, trauma can also influence our body's inflammatory processes. Inflammatory responses are our body's way of fighting off threats, but when they are constantly activated due to chronic stress, they can lead to a host of physical health issues, ranging from heart disease to digestive problems. So, trauma leaves no aspect of our lives untouched. But the human spirit is resilient and recovery is possible. We've embarked on a journey through the complex landscape of the brain under trauma. We've explored the profound effects of trauma, from hypervigilance to chronic pain, and the way it alters our neurotransmitter levels, memory, and even social functioning. Yet, amidst this complexity lies the brain's remarkable capacity for recovery and healing. Our understanding of these processes is constantly evolving, revealing new paths towards resilience and well-being. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Together, we can better understand the human brain and its capacity to heal.